Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm well.
Yeah. Nice. Well, last time we filmed our episode at night in the evening, and today it's in the morning, but it looks almost the same outside.
Yeah.
So
That's how it is here. It's just gray unless it's dark.
yeah.
Gray and black.
Gray and black.
Yeah.
Yeah, you told me a lot about it, so now I'm experiencing it. And the rain, it's very cozy, but also makes you like you don't want to really do anything. If you're like given into it, but it's very melancholic. Yeah. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it can consume you. The water. It can become one with the water.
Yeah. Well, I am excited to jump into our topic, which today, last time we talked about our offering, our program, our leadership program, Embodied Leadership Program. And today I wanted to talk about, because we said it's composed from 4 pillars and each has a theme. And today I wanted to dive into the first pillar and a theme that I feel like we've explored quite a bit, especially you. We also explored with the group that we had in Peru, and it brought a lot of interesting reflections and realizations. So maybe first I want to just introduce a topic, which is desire. So we'll be talking about desire, and maybe I wanted to ask you, like start a little bit from a different twist. I feel like when I say desire, it can be misunderstood into something that isn't accepted or is not necessarily good to have a desires. Do you want to speak about that a little bit?
Like it's not good to have desires?
Yeah, there's this like misunderstanding, like maybe...
I think you should talk about that, and then I can say something. But tell me about the misunderstanding. Tell me about how you feel about desires, or have felt.
So it's funny. So when I think first time you asked me something about desire, it's like a subconscious program or thought that goes like, "Oh, desire is forbidden," or I'm not allowed to express my desires, or desire is something that I don't want to be guided by, almost, you know. I don't know what it is, but it is like a notion that desire is something almost dirty, or like the animal body desire, or so I think that's why. Like it could be triggering maybe for some people, like, what, a desire? But then by talking with you, realize so maybe like if you can tell us a little bit about like why is it important to actually feel our desires, and maybe what is the difference between like socially conditioned desire and true desire, something.
Well, I mean, I think the second question you asked is quite quick. It's like a socially conscious desire is not a desire. That's a program. So it's not, it's a should. If somebody wants you to want something, that doesn't mean you actually want it. So that, like we can go more into that later, but they're different things. So then true desire is pure. Also, true desire does not, it doesn't necessarily make for a better world if all desire is acted upon. But that's not what you're doing if you're feeling your desires. You're not acting, you are getting to know something. So then I would say what you're getting to know, so that like the desire does come through the animal body. The desire comes through a turned on vessel. And if you can't feel the vessel, then you can't feel the desire. So to the degree that we can access, maybe it's like that we can get through our wounds, that we can get into our traumas, that we can do all of these different things, we can kind of get beyond the patterned things and start to feel just the true wanting. Mm-hmm. And oftentimes, not all, I think I don't know exactly where desire always leads. It leads somewhere. For me, the recognition was true desire leads somewhere beautiful. It's not always the easiest path. It's true. And it's good because it's alive and it's full, but it's not good because it's safe and clean. So I would say in something like Tantra, Tantra would say, feel every desire and act on it. That's essentially what's happening in that circle. It doesn't, I think it's not always sexual in the highest form of Tantra, which is certainly not what we're saying to do. And then maybe in Christianity or in other religions, they'd say Christianity in its like present form might just say, don't feel desire. It's not, so that's probably a little bit what you're speaking. Our Western world is like desire bad. Don't feel it. Don't look over there. Look over here. And what we tell you is good and safe. Maybe Buddhism would be something like, desire's over there, but like it's removed from you. It's not you. And so you can kind of watch it and look at it, but it's not really feeling. So all of these different schools of thought have ways to work with desire, but all of them, like I would say, desire is, for me, and this is maybe then I'll pitch it back to you, all information is good information. Like all learning is good learning. There's nothing. So then if I can feel my desire and it takes me, then I have work to do. That's good. Even that's good information, because I can't even feel a desire without just acting on it. I want to know that for my life. Or I could feel a desire and be like, that doesn't actually fit with what I'm doing right now. So like our animal body or our desires, they're not necessarily good at being like, but this month we're working on getting a new job, or this time. So it's not for action, but it is for understanding and then putting words around. So maybe I'll give it back to you. Yeah.
That's beautiful. I think what comes to me, first of all, it's like when you spoke about, when I tune into myself, we have desires. We have wantings, we have longings. If we are not acknowledging them, then they're sort of playing out in like the subconscious layer. And because I do have this feeling, it's like it's very connected to our feeling, to our body. That means it's kind of true. It's a true compass. It's a true longing of our body. Then we can like explore it. But if we don't actually explore it, it's kind of like we're maybe even like going away from it because of some beliefs. It's gonna sort of catch up and like it's gonna do something that it's gonna like distort whatever we are doing. We're not aligned. I feel like if we don't want to look at it, our desires, it's gonna slap us back in our face somehow.
That's beautiful.
And then I'm also like, as I'm listening to you, like the reason that I think you were like, let's start with the desire, as like being like, what I think a lot of people don't even allow themselves ask like, what do I desire? And for me, I think I was also a little bit there, like, it's like, oh, like I'm kind of asking myself, what does my heart want? You know, like I'm bypassing this like desire. But then when I tune in, I'm like, no, this is amazing. Like I'm actually turned on by an idea or something that I want to do or a dream. And then, as you said, there's this whole journey of like first being like, what is it? And taking time to actually sit with myself and go into the process. which I feel kind of want to go back into that question, because I don't think it's obvious. For a lot of people, the first will be like, oh, well, I'm feeling desire, but I'm not sure, like, they will think it's their desire. So when we spoke about this, like, conditioned desire or like a program, I think it's like quite a journey to be like, oh my God, like I was feeling this desire, and that desire is my mother's, or the desire was something that I wanted and it wasn't aligned at all with what I want now. Is that true?
What's the question?
Well, so the question is like, there is a journey. It's not just obvious, right? Like it's not obvious. Like to feel my desires, it's not that easy. Maybe for some it is, who are like in the practice, as you mentioned, tantra practice or any other practices.
I see. Yeah. No, it's good. Certainly, it's a journey. I would say that to some degree, it feels like desire. Well, it's not a finish. There's not an end point, and I think it's like this in, in the Tao. It's basically like everything's movement. So, and I would say desire is very much. It's not a place that you finish at, and you're like, hey. Now I'm done with desire. It's just leading you somewhere else.
Right.
And that's kind of the like that actually gets one, just it's so true what you said. If we're not claiming them, then they're claiming us. Is maybe just like the simplest way to put it. That's why Tantra exists. Why Tantra says if we don't get to know our desires and then do them, then we're still doing them as a species and as a world, but from the shadows, and that's not a good look for everything. So you could say that we have a world that's operating in its desires. It's just not doing it consciously. It's telling. We can see it on our billboards.
It's like manipulating us.
Well, yeah, it's like we worship sex, but we pretend that like that we're all, so there's all, it's all underneath, it's all in the sublayers, and that's because desire is suppressed. Mm-hmm. But to answer your question, in is it a journey? So it's, I think first just to recognize, this isn't a journey. Like and at the very beginning of that, you can be like, oh no, I can't do it right. But once you actually energetically feel like something's a journey, there's no right or wrong. You're just moving towards something, and you can move towards it. And so for me, for instance, just on a daily basis, let's say that I was really tuned into my desire, and I'm on vacation, and I can be walking to go get a cinnamon roll, and instead of going to get a cinnamon roll, I can see a scooter shop, and I can be like, ooh, I've been like, I want to ride a motorcycle somewhere. So I can just go rent a scooter, and then I can get on the scooter and start to take somewhere, and then I can end up, and then I can just be like, I still want a cinnamon roll. And so I can go to a different place, and truly in a world where I can get to this place, and as I'm having my coffee and my cinnamon roll, I can have a meeting with a being that also was led somewhere by desire, that couldn't have happened had I not been tuned to my body and following. So desire is the thing that allows us to create in synchronous flow. It's the precursor to community living, essentially. Because if people aren't able to follow where they're being led by something that's other than by their animal body, the whole point was, or even just like I'm turned on towards something. For instance, in a sexual way, it's like, wow, I like this person, I'm going to go talk to them. Mm-hmm. For most of us, that doesn't end the way that we thought. It just led us to somebody that led us somewhere else, and we end up existing in life in more of a dance and in more of a flow. And as soon as I get to that person that I liked, they might open their mouth and I'm like, whoa, this is not that kind of liking, but this is also really interesting. So we're constantly, and it's why I think I love the term getting turned on. I think it hits people a little bit like, whoa, but if you can really just think of it as your body's turned on and turned towards something, and then you follow your desire there, and then you have a new desire, and then you have a new desire. So the journey is that. I'm going to just say one more thing about that, because now we're talking about small desires that are kind of tuning us. What we're working with in our program is bigger desire, and so there are layers, and we're operating on. There are big things that can guide us. Like, what do you really want to somebody can be like, I really want to be of service to the world, or I really want to have a family. Like there are big, and then all of those small desires can start to nest in that. Getting to that, what do you really want? I really want to be of service. They could both lead to a family. They could both lead to the same thing, but really allowing that bigger vision, bigger mission. It's all it is. It's like, what do I want to be in the world, and how do I want to walk through it? So what we're working with in the first pillar of our program, and I will say desire is we are calling in the energy of the rising sun, the energy of the east, the energy of air. So desire is also, you're kind of searching for it. There's nothing happening. You're just thinking, kind of. You're like you're letting your body get turned on. You're not moving yet. So desire is really just about, and you can deepen and you can go to different places with it. So you can follow it to clarify it and clarify it. And the thing is it's not always right. It clarifies more after you go on a journey. Like, I don't know exactly what I want, but when I sit quietly with myself and I'm like, what do I want? And I ask that, and I have some discipline and I have some practices, that desire, if I can cultivate it and write it down, it can really lead me on a journey for a year, maybe.
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you. That was rich. Yeah, I love everything you said. For me, for me, I really see this like it's like a moving force, and the more we tune into it, the more we will learn about ourselves. So it's like, and it's funny enough that it's like really, it's not that easy to be like, what do I truly want?
It's hard. This is hard work.
And there's like a courage in that too, being like honest with yourself. So there's like a whole process that begins with tuning into the desire. I'm wondering about, because you said there's like the thinking, but I'm wondering, like, you know, if let's say if you're turned on, you feel a desire, I'm wondering like where in the body
you feel it.
You feel it, and if it's like, I imagine different for different people, or I'm just like a little bit with the body there.
Play a little bit. I mean, I don't know if I certainly don't have the answer to that question for where's the right place to feel desire from. Though I would say our sacral center, I think, is definitely a seat of desire. Like there's something about there's the sex organs and the people making organs, or the creation organs. They don't, you know, like when you think about the heart, like it's holding something for a long time, or even the mind, there's thought. There's something that's basically rooted in the now, with those organs. I think with that center, it's more like a compass. It's like telling you to go somewhere. It's not like holding something. So I would say that is, if we can work, and we have in our world, we have a lot of trauma, a lot of repressed sexuality. So it's a good place to start. Like, I mean, I think you could basically get just about any group together and start with going into just opening that center and being like, well, there's a lot of repressed stuff there. And that's all of us, that will help. Now, I do think desire can come through the heart. I think it can come through the root. I think it can come through a lot of places, but I would say, if I were just being like, where do you focus? I would focus on the sex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. And I feel while you were talking, I felt that because for me, like that's the creation, that's where the baby comes from. Like it's a creative force. So it makes sense that would be where the seed, and I think it, as you said, like it can start in a different parts, but then this is like the driving sort of motor in the moment. Like,
yeah, like my desire for my daughter doesn't come through there. It comes through love and it comes through another place. But she came through, there's all of this. So I would say that to me is the like small, where do I go? The synchronicity kind of desire. I would say these, maybe the visions, these bigger things, there's a way where, the big desires probably come from all of reality. And so they could come through there, but being able to tune to the creative center. The one thing I feel to say too, is it's like, I mean, we're kind of touching on it. We have a dear friend who is, a friend who was just in our retreat, who's been talking to me about desire, because we talked, and he is really astute and like really, and so he's like, okay, what do I want? And his immediate realization is like, I have no idea what I want, and I've never known what I've wanted. And all of the things I've wanted were not my wantings.
Yeah.
And it's kind of freaking me out.
Yeah.
And it is scary. Like I had the same realization. It's like, I actually can't touch it when I'm honest. I could be like, I want a new car, but like, wait, do I want a car? Like I want a house. I want a couch for my house. But wait, do I? Like it, and so what's that connected to? And I think then that just points to, it's good to know that the first step that most of us need to do, like the first year when we call in desire, it's deep, it's programming, it's taking layers away. We're not like, yay, now I just wanted to think about what I desire and I have the light and I'm carrying it forward.
Yeah.
We've got work to do to just get to the layer. And there's cyclical work of being like, okay, I did a cycle with my desire and I did another cycle. And so things, no good growth happens in a year. It takes a life. That's like kind of that's the thing that we're doing here in a lot of ways. But yeah.
I think I want to go a little bit into, not per se talking about trauma, but talking about, because you just touched this, like there's programming, there's beliefs, but then I do really feel like desire comes from my feeling, from the body. And we do, like I really went into the rabbit hole of learning about trauma. And it's something that is very in the collective consciousness right now. Everybody is aware of trauma. And I think it happened like in the last 5-7 years, maybe, because I don't know, we don't have to go there.
Yeah.
But like I come from a different culture. In my culture, like 5 years ago or even 6 years ago, it was looked at as something very strange to go to see a psychologist. It's like, oh, that person is sick. And, so we have a different awareness. In my culture, in Europe, there is the trauma awareness came much later, but now it's a big topic, and there is definitely, it almost like became popular and almost sometimes, so I went into like trauma-informed therapy and learn about trauma. And I think it's beautiful, to learn about trauma, to understand it. But then I also could see at some point I needed to exit a little bit from the trauma focus world because I felt a little bit trapped there. I felt like suddenly it's not about what we are doing with the trauma, but it's about the trauma. And why I'm talking about this, talking back about the trauma, because trauma is real and trauma is natural. Trauma happens in nature. Like we say, birth is traumatic. Trauma, in a way, it's a rupture. And we only grow by rupturing and repairing and rupturing and repairing. So without trauma, I feel we would not be human. And so trauma is also beautiful. And for me or for somebody else to feel their desire, if their body was traumatized in any way, it doesn't have to be the body, but if they went through any deeper trauma or more serious trauma, I really see how that goes very much like it kind of covers the desire, like it's somehow there is really like, oh wow, like if I'm dealing with my trauma, forget about me wanting to feel my desires. It's almost like the trauma is driving my day. The trauma becomes, in a way, the leading force. I make decision out of that place because it's a rupture, it's a wound that needs healing, so needs focus. So I'm also feeling like there's a beauty in going into like, here's the thing. Can I feel? Is it safe to feel? So like starting even there, like for some it's like, whoa, like first just like learning how to feel and learning what's beneath, and then like seeing what's in the wound, and then going in and then being like,
it's beautiful.
I'm uncovering all that. And then at some point there's like a force, like a creative force. It's like, oh, whoa, for the first time I'm feeling like I want something. Like there's like
then like that's from a different place. That's beautiful. Yeah.
So I also like, I'm feeling like it's not easy at all for certain.
Yeah, you're speaking of something really beautiful. It's like I think there are different kinds of traumas. I just want to say, like the kind of trauma that you've experienced in your life and the kind of trauma that I've experienced in my life, they're so different.
Very different.
Like, mine is traumatic and my body remembers it as such. And there are wounds, but also I was ultimately safe. Even though ultimately my body and my physicality there was a safe, and yours was maybe like a much darker flavor. I think somehow, as someone who's both not trauma informed, I've joked when you asked me to come to our retreat to hold space with you. I was like, it's good that it's the two of us, because I might be even trauma triggering at times without knowing it. But to recognize that there are different kinds of trauma. And some of them, I think all of them, maybe in nature, like they could lead you to either growth, like you're talking about, or they might lead you to stasis and to like entropic. It's like, oh, are you dying? Essentially, are you? They're the source of something.
Movement, not movement.
And they're the thing that either forces you to move or forces you to stay still. And so I think you're pointing to this. Okay, what about when we have trauma and we're kind of in this like shell and we're still? Yeah. What do you do? This is why I trigger trauma. My way is to go in. It's always to go in. It's like find the fear, and then it's what I tell my daughter. And it's not necessarily, I don't tell her because it's the smartest thing or the best thing. I tell her because it's what I do. And it's the only way I know how to do it. And so it's to go towards something. And so I would say that, and I believe that trauma needs attention at some point in the journey. So if you have a trauma that you experienced and now you've avoided it. Something like a soul piece in the shamanic, if you experience a great trauma when you were 8 years old, what in the shamanic realm they'd say, like, well, the soul, that 8-year-old is sitting somewhere scared and freaked out, and they've been that way, and now you're 35 and that 8-year-old has just been alone and kind of freaked out. That's what in the shamanic tradition they'd say. And so you have to go back to that 8-year-old and give it attention. It needs, essentially, at some point, you don't get to move to the next round until that 8-year-old gets attention and gets integrated back into the whole. So every trauma needs attention. In nature, it's the same way. You can't avoid it. You've got to come back through it. And so my way, and it's why I might be trauma triggering in a small space, is I'm like, go in, address, okay, what is it? Like, where's the darkness? Where's the darkest place in the darkness? What's there? And you can move into it. At some point, you then maybe start to not be in that space of, so like, yes.
I'm gonna
okay,
pause
great.
you there.
Yeah, good.
Why you're trauma triggering is because when there is a trauma, yes, we go in. Like, trauma is a little bit like the desire. It's like where we want to start. Yet, with trauma, you gotta be careful, because I imagine trauma being like I would imagine it being either like a black hole or like an inward spiral. So if you just go in without preparation, without knowing how to go in and out, how to it sucks you in.
Yeah, I've sent
And
people
then-
into black holes.
yeah.
I mean, that's what we talk about. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like push off the cliff. Yes.
But so let me just explain this for
That's
somebody
great.
who
Thank
hears
you.
it for
Yeah,
the first time.
Me too.
So it's like it sucks you in, and that's the danger of. First of all, that's why people don't want to go touch that place, because they feel the energy. The energy is very big,
Right.
and so that's why there's the armor. There is it's like almost these traumas are like in these capsules, put somewhere. And I love what you said about it's a piece of me. It's a part of me that is disassociated somewhere there. But I like to talk about it on the energetic level, because it is a capsule, and or Pandora box. And so if we just go in without knowing how to go in, it can suck us in, and then we are in there. And you could also say oh, great, now I'm in that thing, and it's gonna probably be at 2 or 3 years, I'm in a black hole. But there are beautiful other ways and I believe we have all capacities to come out of there, unless we are in an environment that is completely unsupportive, which also, let's be honest.
That's our world.
That's our world. So, to have a support, to have an environment that is supportive for us to heal. But then there's this. So I want to go back into the spiral, because I really like that. I really like the image of a spiral. So it's you want to go in, and then you want to go out, and you start to so there's a one-way spiral, and you kind of get to know the spiral, the energy. You go in, but then you go out, and you create a little bit like an exit out, and then you go in a little bit more, and you go out a little bit more, and at some point it becomes an energy that moves.
Beautiful.
And I can go as deep in a trauma as much as I can go back. So there is this motion that starts to be testing the water a little bit, going a little bit deeper, and then you go in and you're oh my God, I made it out. And now I know so much more about myself, about what's beneath. Then I can start to feel that there is a gift. And then I think that there's the desire that comes somewhere
So
there.
no, that's where I just want to yeah, don't, because it's not then the desire comes. So it's important.
Then we're safe to feel ourselves.
May I?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not about now we're safe to feel ourselves. I mean, all of that, yes, that is how to address it. The one thing I would want to, I would say correct, You're not safe to go in there when you know how to go in there. You're safe to go in there when you have the courage and you believe in your own ability to navigate and not end up in a black hole, but to end up to navigate. So you can, what you're talking about is you're gaining trust in yourself.
Yes.
You're gaining confidence and courage and the ability to be like, I have this, I have me. Okay. So that's a good process. You shouldn't just jump in before you have the courage to do so. Yet, that at some
tools, capacity. I think there's a
capacity, but it's not. But even tools points to knowing. It's like we all have to study books, and you can't go in your trauma. And so it's important to like that's not the case. We all have the tools already innately. Desire. Desire comes from everywhere, and desire comes through movement. And desire comes through asking. So I think what you're pointing, I mean, to go back to the original, if you're calcified and you're not living, you're essentially, let's say on Earth, in nature, it's
like in a stagnation.
Everything's either growing or not. And the not can look like it's dying. I think there's also avoiding living, like avoiding growth. So what you're talking about is that it's like I got hurt and I'm avoiding, I'm paused and I'm not then looking anywhere and I'm not listening anywhere and I'm not feeling anywhere. And so what you're pointing to is you start to move. Once you start to move, now you're alive. And when you're alive, you can feel desire. You can feel stuff. You start to feel and you can be like, ooh, I want that. It's not and so the trauma is pointing to where we need to just become more alive. And as we become more alive, we can feel more. I think desire, I think, what we've talked about is if you have a bunch of traumas, well, do you have to start at the ancestral wound? Do you have to go right in there? Well, actually, no, you could start with desire. You could just be like, what do I want? It's not going to be this massive, big thing. It's going to be like, I want safety. And then you can follow safety and it's going to lead you into your trauma. Yeah. So you can just be like, what do I want? And that's the beautiful thing about desire. It's safe.
Yeah.
Like it's not going to want this thing that you can't have. But if you can really access it, I think oftentimes we get greedy. We want to have it all right now. And it's like, no, the journey is going to take some time and it's going to lead you through your traumas because it's the only possible way to be able to hold more desires and more energy and more power.
That's beautiful. I love that. So actually the desire, in a way, it's a safe place to begin.
Very safe, yes.
Because there is like layers and depths of desire, and even if we can access the deeper layers, we can still access the surface.
It's going to lead you to that 8-year-old. Yeah. Like it's guaranteed if you follow it, it's going to lead you there, or it's going to lead you to it, and it'll do it in an intelligent way. Like Earth is, she's holding us.
I do disagree with you. I think in nature, there isn't actually stagnation. When you even look...
no, in nature there's not, in humans.
Yeah, but
I'm only talking humans.
I just wanted to correct.
Please, thank you.
And so in nature there isn't stagnation, there isn't like no movement, because it sounded a little bit like you were saying that. And even in human, even if we have trauma, this universe is movement. But I agree that what can happen is like the time stops. And so the movement becomes so little that we can even notice it. But the beauty is also when you work with trauma, you will learn that there you have access to movement, and that's how you move out of it. Because even you have to just go like very little on the very subtle level, and then you will access a very gentle movement, because it's not possible in our reality that there isn't movement. And Nietzsche, everything comes and passes. So it's like the samskaras, like there's always a movement. What happens is like if we are not aware of it, basically it's awareness. We need to go back and like retrace the smallest movement within. So when something is frozen and somebody, like it's kind of guarded, or frozen. It's more like the time collapsed.
It's beautiful.
And the time became different, and it goes like extremely slowly. Or the movement is
say something about that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's because it's beautiful. Yes. I love I just want to, yes, thank you for correcting that, because I probably did say that, but I do not believe that. I think that there's essentially everything in Earth besides humans is moving at some natural pace, even if it's dying. There's movement. I do think that we have a capacity to avoid that. That's almost how I see it. So that's what you're talking about. It's like there's an Earth time, there's a clock, and as humans we have so much agency. Essentially, we have free will, so we can step out of that clock, and we can not be in movement with everything else. Then what are we if we're not in movement with that? And let's say we call that evolution. Then we're avoiding it. It's something like entropy. It's something like it's not actually death, because death is part of life. It's actually avoiding everything. So we're stepping out of time. We're stepping out of God time. We're stepping away from the natural order of things, and we're creating our own little reality, all to ourselves, and that's destroying the rest of the reality. It's cancer, essentially. That's what cancer does in a body. Yeah. So we have the ability to be cancerous in that. And then if we're in it, it's almost like, I would say, maybe we're getting to this when I want to give a shout out to the next pillar, will, because you're talking about movement. And I think that's where this leads. So desire is leading somewhere. Yeah. Desire is very mental. Yeah. It's the animal body, but you haven't done anything in physical reality yet by feeling your desire. And so, but as we are in the Tao, or in the river, or in movement with natural time, desires come more quickly, and they're more profound, and they can start to, and so they can be the thing that leads us places, but ultimately they're not the places that we end up. Yeah. The next pillar then is how you move from that, not to assume that you end up at the desire, but knowing that you had a desire, and then it's time to move. And then you'll see where you end up. Yeah,
that's beautiful. So we can kind of bring it to close with the fact that basically the pillars and the program is all cyclical. It's following nature cycle, and it's beautiful that you mentioned this human time, and how we can basically come out of the natural cycle and the natural time, and then create something that is stagnant, cancerous. Basically, there's no life. So going back into this work that we do, yes, we basically are talking now about the pillar, but it's not it. That's just the beginning point that will move.
Desire is the beginning.
Yeah, and then the work of this program is cyclical, and so there's a whole 12-month cycle and another cycle, and it's like an upward spiral. That's beautiful. Yeah, I think that's good. I feel with this movement we can shift and say that the next episodes we start with the second movement, the second pillar of the program.
I really enjoyed exploring this with you.
Yeah, nice. Me too. Thank you.
Yeah.